Paul from Guitar World, and today we are honored to have Tommy Emmanuel, the world-class guitarist, which we have, I think our organization has named you the best acoustic guitar player in the world. So thank you.
What the hell would you know?
I know what about it. I try. I try. But thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic to have you here.
Thank you.
Again, by the way.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of starting this interview slightly unconventionally. And I wanted to start with saying, like, let's say we're at a party and there are a bunch of people there who don't know you, but they know you play guitar. What song are you going to play for a bunch of us?
For a bunch of people who've never heard you play?
Yeah.
I might play what I have a great time playing, one of my own tunes, you know. Yeah. I might play something like, let's see, Black and White to Color. I might play something like that, or I might just play something that everybody might know. So forth, you know, like a Beatles tune or something like that, you know.
I mean, look, I'm already impressed if I'm at that party.
I don't go to parties and I don't play at parties, but there you go.
Not bad, not bad.
Well, I mean, if I get together with a bunch of guys, we always end up jamming on tunes, and half the time it's songs that I don't know, you know. And so it's kind of fun and adventurous, you know. But
yeah, like the song you just said, From Black and White to Color.
Yeah.
That was funny that you picked that one, because one of my questions was, to me, when I heard that song, to me, that is the most evocative of your particular style of playing. Like, to me, that seems to be like the catalyst for this new album.
I wrote that song the day I got home after breaking my ribs. And I was forced into a period of not doing anything because I had broken ribs, right?
Right.
And I couldn't travel, and the pain was excruciating.
How'd you break your ribs, by the way?
I fell right before I started the show in Toronto. Hello, Toronto. And yeah, I cracked the ribs, and then after the show, I went to ER. And they x-rayed, and they said, yeah, there's the cracks right there, and you're going to have to stop and all that. And I kept going. I did 5 more shows.
Wow.
And on the last show, I came off stage and sneezed real hard, and I broke the ribs then. And the pain level went from here to up there with broken ribs. And then I had to stay for 4 days before they'd let me fly with broken ribs, because, I don't know, can do something to your lungs or puncture your lungs. So I had to stay with some friends of mine, and then I got home, and it just dawned on me when I got home that, like, Brian, my manager, had already moved all the dates from last November to February of this year, right? So all the dates that I was supposed to be doing were now all postponed, and everything was okay, right? So I now had 3 weeks of get well time, and I've never had that kind of freedom in years. And so I got home, and even though I was in pain, I was on painkillers and all that sort of stuff. I was kind of elated. I was happy because I had nothing to do but take it easy. And if I wanted to try and get creative, I could I could sit and play all the guitars that I don't get a chance to play too often at home, you know. And so the weather was very nice, and I sat out on my veranda, and I just got that idea thinking about Ray Charles' piano playing.
Yeah.
Right, because it's a
very much so.
It's very much a R&B piano lick, you know. And I found that little bit of melody. It's C, G. It's a very 70s James Taylor sound. Right?
But you also got that driving force to your music. It's sort of, you get that motif, and then you just thrust it ahead.
Yeah, I'm hammering it like I'm the drummer.
Yep.
Let's go, you know.
Exactly.
I'm Kenny Aronoff driving the bus, you know. I can also hear Huey Lewis and the News in there somewhere, just in the construction of how, because I like constructing instrumentals that are telling me that they're records on the radio. You know what I mean? That's what I'm always aiming for. I'm always thinking, I've got to get this song on the radio. How can I make it radio friendly? How can I write it in a way that it just comes at you and just keeps coming at you?
Right,
you know?
right.
And the middle section is a typical African motif. You know, the first part of it, of course, is it's like now you're going into color. You're going into a different dimension.
Yeah.
Right. After you've been doing that.
Yep.
There's rock and roll life. That's black and white, and now we're going into color. You know what I'm saying? And there's the release out of that section there. So as a songwriter, you can hear what I'm doing. I'm creating the tension, then I'm finding a way out. And now we're coming back into the song again, you know.
It seems like you're exploring so many different avenues of color as you're getting through the song.
Yeah.
So it's
well, also I'm not afraid to try anything, you know. This song's a classic example of like I'm trying to play like an R&B groove. I'm trying to write a rock song for the radio, and somewhere in it is an African motif, you know. When I played it for one of my neighbors, she's a lady from Rwanda, and I played it to her. She was one of the first people who heard this song. And because she loves music and she likes what I do, and I go visit her. Anyway, she knocked on my door, and I said, "Oh, come in, I want to play you my new song." And I played it just with the whole thing as I'd written it. And the first thing she said is, "Oh, you've heard African folk music." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Oh, the middle part, it's African folk music." And there you go. See, that's because I traveled to Africa. Sure. I spent time there. I listened to music there. That's why I think traveling and experiencing different cultures, different musical styles, how creative people are in their own environment, it's a great way to enhance your own knowledge and have things to draw on.
Right. You're increasing that musical vocabulary.
Exactly.
But here you are, you have this song where you're drawing, Ray Charles, Huey Lewis, and African folk music.
Exactly.
Do you have someone in your inner circle that says, like, Tommy, we need to let's rein this and let's make this a pop song? Do they make you edit yourself, or do you just say, no, I want to do it this way?
Well, I just write how I write. I'm always just trying to write the best song, and I'm always aware of, don't bore us, get to the chorus. But I'm also aware of things like if I come up with something that I really like the melody of it, then I repeat it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There have been many times where I've thought, now what would George Harrison do here? He'd probably just do this. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I try to think, outside the box of being a musician. I try to think of human nature, people's personalities, the things we like, and the risks that we have to be willing to take if we're going to develop as an artist and as a writer.
That's great, fantastic. Tell me about your first single, Scarlet's World. What about it? What about that particular song, your melody and arrangement?
Scarlet's World. Okay, yeah. Scarlet's World. I started writing a long time ago. And it's been the only song that I've ever written that I totally overwrote everything. I wrote so many parts, and I tried to piece it all together because I was trying to be clever, and sometimes that can get in your way. And eventually it did. I was trying to do all these things and invent something new and do something new. And in the end, the songwriter down here in my heart and soul is the one that always wins. And he kept telling me, you don't need it. You don't need it. It's too much. Just tell me the story. So I ended up, I think I wrote 6 different parts and pieced it together like this fabulous thing I was doing. And in the end, I tossed away 3 ideas and kept the main 3, which is the melody. Da, da, ba, 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 right? Da, 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 ba, 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 ba. Here in Scarlet's World. And I purposely wrote it like an 80s, like a Dire Straits kind of song.
Right.
I did that on purpose. But I just want to say that my first idea, which is this melody, was like a very slow, sad Russian piece, which is like this. You hear how it goes. That's how it started out. And then I got the idea of going.
Yeah. amazing.
And it just occurred to me, because we're talking about influence, it occurred to me that parts of that sound a bit like the same influence from
Dire Straits?
Mike and the Mechanics.
Oh, okay.
You remember The Living Years?
Yes,
remember that song?
yes, of course.
Yeah, that style of writing is in me somehow. And it's probably because I'm a child of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you know?
But I also hear a little bit of that Dire Straits swing to that.
Totally.
And
yeah.
And I just, again, you go into that one section that you're drawing from somewhere else, which is also very cool. But I love where you put the accents on that song.
Oh, the song needed something to say, it's okay, we're going into the next section of our life, you know.
It's amazing.
And Scarlet is my oldest granddaughter, and she definitely lives in Scarlet's world, you know. But also, I'm also a big fan of Scarlett Johansson and her work. And the movie Lucy really inspired me,
Lucy.
you know, because there's so much going on in that film for you to think about.
Yes.
You know, it's so much information coming at us.
Plus, she's trying to figure out how do I work this?
Yeah.
Most of the movie is that. What am I doing? How do I deal with this?
How do I deal with it? Because it's in me now, and I'm running.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like what the song is. That I'm thinking about Scarlett, my granddaughter.
Right.
What's her world going to be like when she's 20 years old?
Sure,
you know.
Sure.
So, you know, and our world is changing by the minute now. You know, and so all those things, you know, brought me that song somehow.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Has she heard you play this, by the way?
Oh yeah. She loves the video of Scarlett's World. It's a funny thing. The video, people think that's Scarlet, but it isn't. It's just a young girl from Kentucky who's an actress, and who could do everything that we needed her to do in a totally believable way. Because as simple as the video is, it's just me playing, and then they put her in there, and then there's shots of different things. Basically, the message of the video is, don't be afraid of all this stuff coming at you, because it's still a beautiful world outside of that, you know? And so she's like doing this, and she's covering her eyes, things that she doesn't want to see, right? This is real life coming at her. But then eventually she smiles, and she sees her world, you know?
That's amazing. The other song I thought, which I heard of you that I thought was quite interesting, is A Drowning Heart, which has an incredible amount of physicality, like a lot of cascading notes. It's really, I mean, it's a technical song for you.
It is, and it's that way on purpose, because what A Drowning Heart is about is this very thing of, there's so much information coming at us, and everybody on their phone, on their computer, you know what I mean? It's like we are being absolutely overwhelmed with information. Is it good for us? I don't think so, you know, because that's not the real world. The real world is us being in this room, being normal human beings together. That's the real world, right? But so the idea behind this song is all this stuff's coming at us, and some of it's beautiful, some of it's rough, some of it's awful, some of it's amazing, all that stuff. But it's all coming in here, and this is flooding, right? This is flooding, you know, and this is drowning, because we're not tuning into our natural habitat in here of you know, we need each other. We need to be there for each other, and that's what makes us tick. And so that's what A Drowning Heart is all about. And it's another reason why when I recorded it, I only did one take, and it's the take on the video is what you get on the record, because I wanted it to have a sense of urgency, a sense of honesty, and I wanted it to have a few rough edges, you know, a few things that could cut you. You know what I mean? And so that's how I was thinking. You know, a couple of people saw it, and they said, "Oh, he normally plays like perfectly, and it's always nice and smooth, and it's always round edges and all this blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
This is a little bit rough and, like, oh, I'm not sure if I like it. The point is that I did that on purpose because life isn't perfect. Life has all the rough edges and all the bits that are going to cut you and bring you down. That's what life has. And I wanted that to be part of this song, But at the same time, the breakdown section and the introduction, I just imagined I was Billy Joel and I'm composing at the piano and I want to tell this story. And it just came to me really quickly, this whole thing. That section of the song I almost like had to keep up with it. It was already writing itself through me somehow. The main theme of it was a purposeful attempt at doing something that was a little bit like Nirvana. These chords. Right? Yeah, of course, Nirvana would be. Right? So if I play it like that, then that's what you hear, right?
Sure.
Or that style of music, that kind of grunge music, right?
Yeah.
So ba ba ba. Right. So it's telling, and then the chorus. That's a bit like Taylor Swift, right? Because some of her, especially her earlier work, her choruses were like this cry from the heart. This is just the same note and the chords moving underneath and getting the message across. So. And you never hear a finger picker playing like that. You know what I mean? You won't hear that in a Doc Watson tune. It's completely. I'm already trying to push out of the boundaries of this style of playing. And then it goes through that, and then it does a double chorus, as you do when you're writing songs to get on the radio. You want a double chorus if it's doing the business, and then that leads us into. So it takes us to another place. It gives us another view, kind of thing. It's also, to me, that's music being my wake-up call. Don't forget who you are. You know, that you're a human being and you're supposed to be with everybody else. Stop isolating. Stop doing this. That's what it's telling me.
Well, it's cool because I think the point you're driving home is that you need to be present, which is a wonderful thing that I think a lot of us forget as we get
present
deeper,
is good.
As we get deep into our phones, which and it's just funny how you have just name dropped all these unlikely sources like Huey Lewis, Mike and the Mechanics, Nirvana. I mean, it's just all you drew from so many. I mean, it tells me that you are incredibly aware of what's out there or listening to it.
I know what I like, and it's not that I'm stealing from everybody, but what I'm doing is taking the influence of that person. I'm trying to be like a method actor and a songwriter at the same time. In order for me to get in the right frame of mind, I need something to make me feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I don't get I don't get at all that you are stealing or even necessarily borrowing. I find that you are sort of grasping what they're doing, and then you're saying, I love what's going on here, and I'm going to try and replicate that with something similar I'm writing. I think that's which tells me you are really listening.
I mean, all my life, I've learned from everybody, but the what I love looking at and experiencing is something that changes our world, like the Beatles did, like Hendrix did, like, you know what I mean? And people who can write something that can absolutely move me to tears. You know, like when I heard The Living Years, and I still listen to that song.
Great song.
Because the message is unbelievable. Every generation blames the one before, and all of their frustrations come beating on our door, you know. I know that I'm a prisoner to all my father held so dear. I know that I'm a hostage to all his hopes and fears. I just wish I could have told him in the living years. You know, what a powerful message. You know, if I could write something half as good as that, I'd be happy, you know. So I'm just reaching for it in every way I can with whatever I've got, you know.
That's great. Well, it's funny you say that. One of my favorite songs that you do on the new album is your cover. You did "You Needed Me" by Anne Murray. I was like, well, first I just saw the title, and I just like, then I started listening, and within a few seconds I go, he's playing an Anne Murray song.
Yeah,
it's to me, it's just a very thoughtful piece in your interpretation of it.
Thank you.
It's really great.
There's many reasons why I did that. First of all, it's written by my friend Randy Goodrum, and Randy wrote that song as an instrumental and then put the words to it later, right? And I played on probably 20 different versions of that between 1979 and 1984 of people wanting to record that beautiful song, right?
Right.
But that was a long time ago, and this generation, they don't know about "You Needed Me."
No.
They've never heard that song, you know? And so that melody to me is timeless. And to interpret a song like that, I listen to how it's sung, and then I try to emulate the sound of the singer and the band together, or just singer and piano together. So I've got like here's the melody. Right, there's the melody.
It's just beautiful.
But you've got So I started playing it again not that long ago, just before I recorded it. And every time I played it, it was like right at the end of a show. So it was a song to let everybody down and go home in a peaceful manner. And just about every time I played it, someone would come up and say, "Oh my God, what's that new song you're playing?" It's not a new song. It's new to them.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just another thing that I've learned over the years, is that songs, if you stay still, the world's going to rotate and it'll come back around again and you'll get another shot at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I remember Ricky Skaggs telling me, "Well, I'm back doing what I did for," you know, he started in bluegrass and then he went to cross over into country, and he had all these hits and all that. And then he got back to bluegrass, and he said, I just stood here and it came back round again. And I thought, there's a good lesson in that. And so that's how I feel about songs like "You Needed Me."
Yep.
You know, I mean, Anne Murray sang it so beautifully, and it's a gorgeous song.
She's the Canadian Karen Carpenter.
Yeah,
in a way.
Exactly.
But
it's just a classic melody, and you don't need to do any stuff to it, you know. I don't want to guitarify it. I just want to play the song and tell the story.
No, but the way, see, sometimes I think that's what always fascinates me. Sometimes you hear a song, you know, you love the song, but sometimes when you watch say like what you just did, an interpretation where you break it down and you play it on guitar, the melody and all the parts, you suddenly realize just how incredibly complex and intricate this song is, and it actually makes you appreciate the song even more. And just watching you actually play that, which was interesting too, is that you switched from your thumb pick to an actual
I'm using a straight pick, and I wasn't real thrilled with the sound of that too. Let me change picks. There we go. Yeah, that's better. I need to go. I need to do that. So I go.
It's interesting.
Right, so I'll slow it down. Here's the bridge. And the last time.
Fantastic! Wow.
It's simple, but I'm trying to think like the singer and the, you know, I've got my producer's hat on, and I'm making sure that everything's in the right place.
But it's also your attack. You know, you totally switched gears in the way you play it. Which is really, it's amazing.
Well, a song like that, the melody has to have a quiet strength. You know what I mean? That's how I see it.
Yeah.
It can't be overplayed in any way. You know what I mean?
No, I think you nailed it. A quiet strength. I like that. I think that's
well, I
very
just made it up, Paul.
I think that's perfect.
Thank you.
I think a lot of guitar players can learn from that right there. Quiet strength.
This little thing.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest.
I stole that from Chet in about 1968.
Yeah.
He did it in some song somewhere on one of his early records. Yeah. And I just was, wow, what's that? And I found a place to put it.
It's a nice little flourish that brings you to the next part. You know, it's
and
great.
You never hear anybody do that.
No.
And there's your reason to get out and do that.
That's right. That's amazing. So let me switch gears. I know you're playing with Richard Thompson tonight.
Yeah.
Again, he's another world-class player like yourself. And I also know he also plays in open tunings, mostly what DADGAD, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably. I'm not sure. We've
Have you
never
guys-
played together.
So you've never played, you've never worked
No,
anything
we
out?
got rehearsal about an hour before the show.
Oh. So then how did this come about? You're just like, oh, Richard, well, just come on over. Let's just do this. At Carnegie Hall, no less.
Well, when we decided that I would do my show at Carnegie Hall, my manager, Brian, suggested that we do a double header and have someone who draws a crowd in New York City and is known and could bring something wonderful to the night instead of just having an opening player, right?
Right.
So we talked with Richard and his management, and they liked the idea. And so Richard and I started emailing each other. He knows some of the songs that I know. And he sent me one of the pieces that he sings and plays. But a lot of his Celtic stuff I haven't learned. So he can do that, and then we can do something else together.
So you go in pretty much blind and just see what happens.
We'll just make a decision on what songs we'll do.
Yeah.
Run them down and say, oh, you take the first solo, I'll take a, you know what I mean? You just kind of direct the traffic a little, and then away we go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you've played with so many people on stage. Who's been the most fun or who's been most intimidating?
Oh, well, I try not to be intimidated by people because it's an awful feeling. But there have been times where I felt like I won't do anything. I'll just be a part of this, and then when someone needs me to take a solo, they'll point at me and I'll play something. Other than that, I'm not going to, play all over this damn thing, But I love playing with Django style players. That's so much fun and challenging and great for my stirring up my musical juices.
Sure.
Stockler Rosenberg's one of my favorites to play with, and Joshua Stefan from Germany, and Richard Smith. But the people that I love collaborating with are people like Jerry Douglas and Molly Tuttle, and Sierra Hull's one of my favorite artists right now.
Wow.
But I like playing with people who are into songs like I am. I like songs players. People who play stuff that goes way over my head. Well, imagine it's going to be way over the head of the audience.
Sure.
So I can only allow this much of that kind of stuff, and that's it, because I'm there to serve the music and the people,
Is it hard to kind of keep a crowd going, just being, as that, just a solo guitar and yourself?
Well, I've been doing it a long time. I know how to do it, but I also always am willing to take risk. I know there are, all my instincts kick in when I walk on stage. My instincts are really controlling what I do next, kind of thing. It's not a matter of a set list and a well thought out show. It's all my life is in every show, and sometimes I break my own rules. Like I'll play 2 ballads instead of 1. Particularly if I feel that the audience are really enjoying this experience. I'll play something like Summer Over the Rainbow, right? And there's a great feeling in the room of the people have really loved the fact that I've taken my time and everything's gone quiet, and they're in a great place because of the music, right? I don't want to just now, okay, let's get back up, So sometimes I play 2. I'll do 2 slow songs in a row, which I don't normally do, and I don't recommend to other players. But sometimes it's the right move. You got to know when, you know.
So it's fair to say that you're almost, when you're playing live, you're in a constant state of reading the room.
Yeah, and also trusting my feelings
And
with what's
instincts.
going on,
Right.
you know.
And is it that does the risk involve, say, like improvising outside of what?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but I build into my show. Of course, I make a joke with the audience. I always say, you know, people ask me, do you improvise? And I always say, no, I just make stuff up, you know. And so it's a nice way of not appearing like a wise guy. Of course I improvise, you know. No, I just make stuff up, you know. And I make it up because I'm having fun doing that, you know.
That's great.
When I play guitar boogie, you know, most times I'll play the song through and I'll play some solos. I'll start improvising, and every night I choose a tempo that's a little bit different. And sometimes I play it edgy and fast. Other times I play it right back on the beat, and you know, stuff like that. And then right when people think that I'm coming to the end of the song, I do a key change, and now I'll take it into a kind of shuffle. So the last time round, now I'm playing a blues shuffle in G, right? So forth, and I just wander around doing stuff, and I get to a certain point, and then when I get back to E, I go into a tune I wrote called Stevie's Blues, which I wrote the day after Stevie left us. So forth. I lead that, and I play that twice around, and that leads me back to, and then I take it out with one more time over the melody, and then that's it.
Wow, you do so many musical shifts. It's great.
Yeah, well, that keeps it interesting, and you know, it's the only time in the show where I get a bit self-indulgent, and I take my time with it, you know.
you put your whole body into the instrument, which is, you don't normally see that all the time, but is there a routine or a regimen that you do to keep you, mentally and physically fit?
No, I wake up in the zone.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. It amazes me when I see someone playing and they don't even tap their foot. I'm like, how can you make music like that? You know?
No, yeah, you swing your whole body into that guitar. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing which was impressive, which I don't think many knew. Before you got here, you just pulled the guitar and you're blazing before the sun has risen here.
Well,
it's crazy.
Well, it's just how I've always been, I don't have routines. People think a guy like me must have, an hour of doing scales and an hour of doing, I could care less about all that stuff, I'm a song player and I'm an entertainer and I love playing for people. So, I wake up in the zone. I'm ready to go. I could get up at 4 a.m. and do a show. No problem.
Sometimes I'll wake up and I find myself in a certain key.
Oh, yeah.
And when I pick up the guitar, I start on that key.
Yeah.
Are you sort of similar that way, or is it a groove
Normally,
or a style?
I can relate to that because there are some mornings I wake up and there's a song in my head and it's going round and round and it's there. And I'm making my coffee and I'm like, what is this song doing to me?
Yeah.
So there are days, but this is the wonderful thing about music. When I was married, that the Frank Sinatra Live at the Sands album was one of those records that if my wife was in the kitchen cooking, I would come down and turn on the little speaker and put it on, and it wouldn't be long before we'd be dancing and we'd just go into a zone because of Frank and that music. That's what it did to us as a couple.
Isn't that what it's supposed to do? It's supposed to put you there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you, speaking of songs, when you hear so many different songs, is there a moment where you go, man, I wish I wrote that song?
Oh, all of them.
All of them. Is there one lately?
The leader of the band. What a song.
Is there one lately that you've been thinking about that you're like, wow, that's such a great song. Maybe I need, I wish I wrote that, or maybe I need to do something with that.
Oh, I think about all the Beatles songs that are like that, and all the really great songs that are out there. But I'm also one of these people that I go back to listening to R&B music and soul music from the 60s. And I just, every time I hear it, I go, well, I haven't heard anything better than that. I've heard some other great things, but I haven't heard anything better than that, And when young people ask me about who I listen to for songwriting, I always say, go back and listen to Carole King's Tapestry album. That's already set the mark, It's already incredible songs, incredible singing, playing, and all that. But it's as good as it can get,
It's interesting you say Carole King. I remember there was an article I'd read sometime in the New Yorker. I think it was the New Yorker, New York Magazine, one or the other. But it was a great article. It was just one page, and she talked, and it was written by her, and she was talking about her life being a songwriter and just being in an office building in New York City, driving these amazing songs.
Yeah.
And I think, if I remember correctly, the article ends, you're reading how much work she put into it, and then she goes, I was 19. You're sitting there, you're like, what?
A what?
Yeah, it was something like that. You're like, how, to be able to be that driven and creative.
Yeah. I mean, if you sing, I feel the earth move under my feet, it's just as relevant today as it was in 1969 when it came out, and it's just as moving and powerful. You make me feel like a natural woman.
Sure.
Stayed in bed all morning just to pass the time. Smack, water jack, he bought a shotgun. I mean, every single song is great. And like a lot of James Taylor's stuff, I feel the same way about. I know there's been, I could point out things in some of my songs and my writing where I went, oh, I need something that's a bit like James Taylor's, like in Black and White to Color, where it goes, here. That's a typical James Taylor style line, right? Because I wanted to do those chords there, and I thought I need a melody that's singable. Da, 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 da. Right?
Yeah.
That's something James Taylor would have done. The end of the bridge in my song Mombasa is absolutely James. That's a typical James Taylor tune. So forth. You know, there's things that I've heard, and now I use them to the best advantage at that point in the song.
Yeah.
You know,
amazing. You know, you were speaking just before about like you've had such a career through every decade. You know, the '60s, '70s, and the '80s. You know what? I think a lot of players have always wanted to know: I know you played in bands, but were you ever tempted to go down, or were you charmed by going down the route of, you know, being like a Hendrix, a Clapton, you know?
If I could sing like those guys, I would have definitely went there. But I'm not really a singer, you know. I love singing,
but I mean, like playing as well, like all that kind of electric, going more electric.
Oh, I went through a period of doing that for a long time.
So what brought you back?
Well, I would do shows with my band, which were like 80% electric, right? And I wrote in that style of kind of anthem rock style, right? And I had like a second guitar player who doubled things and played melody and harmony with me, and a keyboard that followed the melody, and I had all that stuff, right? And because the show had to be interesting and diverse, I would send the band off, and I would play a couple of pieces on my own. Then I would bring the drummer back out, and he would play brushes on a phone book with a mic on it, like that, and we would play tunes together. And then I would bring the second guitar player out with another acoustic, and we'd do stuff together where I could flat pick. And so the show had everything, right? But here's what happened. Every night I would go out to sign autographs and meet people after the show. And people started saying, love the show, love the band, but the best part of the night was when you just played on your own. And people kept saying it. So here's what I did to experiment. I rang my agent and I said, book me for a 3-week tour in the area where we'd been like 2 months before, and call it Tommy Emmanuel Solo. And he's like, what? And I said, yeah, I'm just going to go out solo. Oh, you can't do that. And I said, you watch me. Let's do it. You know. So he booked me. Every show sold out, and it was a complete success. And I had the time of my life, and I didn't have to part with 90% of the money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Spoken like a true musician.
Exactly.
That's great.
So yeah. So that was the beginning of it. But I'd always loved playing solo, and I started doing that back in the 70s. And I was playing like wine bars and acoustic rooms. And I, you know, I was starting to draw a crowd. I was starting to get a picture of how I could put it together, what songs worked, what songs didn't. You know, that's really how my arrangement of Classical Gas came, because people would start singing out, you know, Classical Gas, Guitar Boogie. They start singing out requests from the song.
Like Freebird.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. I was aware of Classical Gas because I remember when it came out in 1969. I remember where I was when I heard it and everything. And everybody wanted to play it, right? But when you play it as a solo piece, it doesn't really work. You know, it takes too long to get going, to take us somewhere. But with a band and an orchestra, it all works great. But as a solo piece, when you're playing to a bunch of people who need you to play a lot, you know, and come at them with everything you got, you need to stop wasting time and get to them, you know. So I took the the iconic parts that everybody knows. Right? Everybody knows that, and they know that, and then they know all that part. Although the original did it up here, so dun, 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 yeah. I think that's where Mason wrote it. But anyway, so what I did with classical gas, because people would go nuts when I went boom, the audience would go off, right? Oh yeah, we know that, great, you know. So I just kind of took the iconic parts and made the rest up.
Yep.
I took these things and I sewed them together with whatever I could come up with, you know. And I banged on the guitar and I did, you know, and the audience would go crazy, you know, because they hadn't seen anybody do that back in a long time ago, you know. And so that's how that evolved. And then, you know, when you're playing in bars where you got to play for a long time,
sure,
you know, I would set the song up, and then I would go into Walk Don't Run, still keeping the energy up, momentum, and then I go. Right? That's because great. That worked as well, you know? And then I'd go, I'd go into playing like a drum stuff, and then I'd come back to, you know, and take it out from there. But the whole thing would be 20 minutes long. It'd be like, great, okay, 2 more like this, and I've got the hour, you know?
It's amazing. Wow.
It's necessity.
Yeah.
This is where most of my good ideas and things that have really grown and lasted through the years, they come out of necessity.
Yeah. But it's also, it speaks a lot about you as a performer, that you've starting, as you said, taking risks and seeing like, oh, I'm going to stitch all these things together, and now I have this show because I've put all these parts that I know wow the crowd, right?
Yeah. Well, the idea, I mean, if the crowd are not into it, then you're not doing something right here. Right. You got to get your stuff together. You know, choose the right songs and choose when to slow down and when to speed up and all that sort of stuff. And you know, all the years of playing with my brother and I together, we learned how to really piece it together so it just built and built. And when they thought it couldn't go any further, well, look out, here it comes now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that kind of stuff. Well, we learned all that just through doing so many gigs and playing to so many different audiences, you know?
Fantastic. If you could just give me a quick bite-sized Tommy Emmanuel lesson that maybe our audience would say like, oh, I can do that.
I try to make people aware of things that are important on stage. And I think tuning is the most important thing, right? You got to be in tune. Really spend time tuning. Spend time with your tuner and then play the guitar and get it in tune. Now, the other thing is putting a capo on. Every time you put the capo on wrong, you are going to pull the guitar out of tune. And so if you're using one of these type capos, I have lots of different capos, but I use this on stage a lot because not only do I put it on, but I take it off in the middle of a song sometimes, you know. For instance, if I'm playing Here Comes the Sun and I'm up here, right? I've taken the capo off and done a key change, you know, so let me show you now, like when you put a capo on, the best way to do it, you also need to know that this has a spring in it and it's going to push down on the strings a little bit. So the best way that you can get as accurate as possible is put the guitar on an angle. Don't put it on when it's like that. You see that? You're gonna pull it out of tune for sure. So you put the guitar on an angle like that. You look down at the fret where you want to put it, squeeze it, you drop it on, and you'll feel it sit kind of flat. Now, take your right hand and with your palm, just push down like that on the strings. And there it is. So, you ready? I'll do it for you. Angle, squeeze, drop it on nice and flat. There you go. Push and... It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. I could probably get away with it.
So I've been doing this forever. I play with a lot of capo, and I see guitar players do it, they put it on there, it's like they knock it right out of tune.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, you're putting on something and one's getting pinched one way, it's like a bad nut, right? But so it's interesting your way of doing it. The way I do it is I press down on the strings before I put the capo on, sort of kind of put it out of tune, and then when I put it on very gently, when I let go, it seems to come back in key.
This is very good.
I could be wrong, but what you just did works. I mean, I think we're both on the same path.
Yeah, well, it's because we care about tuning, right? That's the bottom line. We both care about, we like the sound of having a capo on in certain songs, It's like my song Angelina. I wrote it and dropped D in D, right? But one day I put the capo on and I just started playing it and I went, that's where it belongs. It's now it's found its home. And my ear told me everything, because the melody sounded so good, a little higher.
Yeah.
Right? So these things, I think the bottom line, Paul, is like, we got to practice the guitar, but we've got to practice other things as well. And it's a good idea to practice putting the capo on.
I agree.
Or
life itself.
Because every minute counts on stage, and I want to be in tune every minute I'm out there.
Yep.
I'm not always, but that's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
And this is one way of helping me, get the capo on, get the guitar in tune quickly and keep going. I'm telling the story and now I play the song and there's no lag time.
Yeah.
Well,
don't get me wrong, you just taught legions of guitar players how to do it right. and that's it's always good to know when you're confirmed by someone like yourself, oh, Paul is doing it right. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, see, you found what works for you. And there's the principle right there.
Bringing it back. I like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. There are so many guitar players who love you. Is there any, inspirational advice you want to give them if they want to pursue this path that you've done?
The real honest advice that I can give people is always from my own experience. But, I always say what works for me may not work for you. You have to find what works for you. And I think tuning into where your strengths are, I can play full on for a long time, right? I can play big or small, fast or slow. I know a lot of songs. And I love playing them for people. So there's some of my strengths, right? My weaknesses may be that I don't know enough covers of things that maybe the younger generation, because they've grown up watching YouTube and everybody does covers. You know what I mean? And, when I see a guitar player doing a cover of a Michael Jackson song, it doesn't really work for me. You know what I mean? I could do that, but I don't want to do that because I want to hear Michael sing that, and that's about the end of that. You know what I mean? It's just a different way, and you have to respect everybody's likes and dislikes and all that. And so, when I get asked something like, what's the formula for success? I don't know. But I can tell you how to fail, and that is try to please everybody. You're not going to do it, You can't please everybody. You have to do the best you can with what you've got, I wish I could play guitar like Django Reinhardt. I wish I could play like Jimi Hendrix. I wish I could play like George Benson, but I can't. I have to be happy playing like me, and it may not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I don't care.
Right.
I play because I love to play, and I love to play for you. That's about the end of the story.
Yeah.
I never said I was the best at anything. I never said I was a good player or a good singer or a good anything. I never said that, and I still don't say it. But I show up and do my best, and that's, you know, I can lay down at night knowing that that's the honest truth.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I think is important is that you need to have a good repertoire. You need to have good songs to draw on. If you're not a composer, then you need to have your way of playing great songs that people would really love to hear, even though you didn't write it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's all about the quality and integrity of what you do. That's what lasts. Everything else is just scenery.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, it's pretty much finding your voice.
Yeah.
And running with it, and hopefully people will dig what you do.
Well, I'm the luckiest guy alive. I mean, I only play because I love it, and people, you know, pay money to come and see me do it, and I'm so grateful for that, you know.
Fantastic.
And you know, never forget that you got bills to pay. You know, there are a lot of people who start out well, and then they're looking for the wrong things. You know, they're looking for instant stardom and big money, you know, and just be careful because you might get it. And I bet you it'll ruin you, you know.
Yeah.
So I never forget that this is what I do, and I'm lucky to be doing this, you know. But I have bills to pay. I have children and grandchildren, and I want to help my family out. And my daughter's got to go to school and to college and all that. And I've got to make sure that I've got money coming in to save for that and all that, you know. It's still the bottom line, you know, and don't overlook those things, you know.
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, I think I've learned so much in 1 hour. The fast hour.
The fast hour, exactly,
Yes.
in 45 minutes.
I've learned quiet strength, the fast hour. It's been an eye-opening and amazing experience just listening to you talk
thank
and
you,
play.
Paul.
And
thanks for asking me this morning.
yeah, no,
Appreciate it.
there you have it. Tommy Emmanuel out on tour, his new album,
Living in the Light.
Go listen to it and check you out.
Thanks.
It's amazing. Thank you again.